This recording is being made in Barrow, Alaska, on Sunday evening in February. February 17th, 1980. This is the very first recording to be tried in this new recorder. Today, I left Fairbanks on Wien Flight 1 at 8:30 and flew to Barrow, joining Ralph Eluska and Jerry Gilliland at Barrow. While on the airplane, I sat with John Aktovuk, having met him before getting on the airplane, and sitting with him and talking about the old days. I bought John a scotch and soda and myself one, and then he in turn bought one for me and one for himself. And he had suggested that we take a room together in the hotel. However, Eddie Bodfish, who was on the airplane, invited him to stay with the Bodfishes in Barrow, so as he did. Upon arriving in Barrow, we were met by Jacob Adams, and I was introduced to other members of the Alaska Eskimo Whaling Commission, commissioners including John Aktovuk, a man from Sivunga, a man from Sivukaak, and a man from Wales. And then I was trucked in a truck driven by Jacob Adams to the hotel. Later on, Jerry Gilliland and Ralph Eluska arrived. The hotel cost $78 and a few cents for a night. And the hotel seems in much better shape than it has been earlier. This morning at 11 o'clock, I went to the service at the Presbyterian Church. The minister is now the Reverend Armstrong, and it was interesting to sit in the audience and to look towards the front of the church and note the preponderance of white heads, showing that most of the people in church now are the old folks. After church, I met Dan Saunders, who is now married to Mary Tina, former church worker, and they have a child who must be about 4 years old. I talked briefly with the minister, and then went into the store where I purchased some razor blades and the life story of Douglas MacArthur to read, and some soap. The store seems complete as compared to the old Al Shant store, and all sorts of things are available. Afterwards, I went in the room of Jerry and Ralph, and we talked a little bit. I tried to get them to go out and visit the Naval Arctic Research Laboratory. Unfortunately, it was all closed up on Sunday and will be tomorrow, which is a holiday. However, later on in the afternoon, the director of the laboratory and his wife stopped in at the hotel to say hello and to explain the situation. I thought that was rather nice that they undertook to do that. Then Jerry, Ralph, and I walked along the street in Barrow, one of the streets right close to the ocean, in search of Charlie Edwardsen. One house we stopped at shortly after passing the Inupiaq University, which is a rather small building. A fellow answered who said his name was Otto, who was a Hungarian, and I spoke a little Lappish, which he seems to understand. Then he spoke Czechoslovak, and I spoke a little Russian. Then he spoke a little German. I spoke a little German, and he said that he had several years ago been at the university or in that area teaching soccer. We then walked on up to, I suppose it's Mr. Edwardsen's house, the father, and walked inside, banged on the door, walked inside. The house was a two-story, goodly sized house, warm, temperature must have been in the 80s, big TV set. Old man Edwardsen was sitting there, very heavy man, looking, I guess, grossly overweight. And on the sofa was a little kid with a big head. And beside him was another kid about 2 years old. There was in the house a girl, maybe 16 or 17, who sat down with the little children to sort of take care of them. I talked then to this man's wife, and among other things, I saw some old photographs on the wall and asked her who they were, and she said that they were her relatives, and the name I've forgotten, who did, among other things, once ran the mail, and ran the mail as far as Inupiaq one time by sled, which is a long ways. Later on, we walked back to the hotel and went in and had sort of supper at 4 o'clock. A lot of kids in there sitting around. I noticed one of what must have been Bobby Fischer's kids. Bobby Fischer, famous pilot, Barrow, died maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. He had married a Maorak girl from Wainwright, and they had a whole bunch of kids. This boy must be 15, very handsome-looking boy, looking very much like his father. The hotel is sort of an interesting place. Kind of an old, desiccated lady was at the desk. Downstairs was a Eskimo lady, Josephine, whose last name I've forgotten, who was occupied with cleaning. And upstairs, where I am, room 213, is a lady, Ella Sekriak, or something like that. Real short old lady with very bowed legs. It looks as if the angle, it looks as if her lower leg is offset from the femurs. The femora come out at an angle, and the lower legs come in at an angle. It's rather exaggerated bow leg. Among other things, I've noticed just walking around the town, there are a good number of tonnage here, white people. They really seem to be, many of them seem to be rather overweight. I saw a very large man drive by in a truck, and I'm sure that obesity is now becoming another one of their health problems. At supper with Ralph and Jerry, we were joined by Adams fellow, who sat with us and had a cup of coffee. And it's rather interesting to follow the discussion between Ralph Eluska, Jerry Gilliland, and Jacob Adams, because Adams gives the impression to be sort of hedging and the other two, especially Jerry, become rather determined in trying to get from him some statements about when the meeting will take place, and can they, including myself, appear on the agenda, and asking him what he thinks of the studies of whales that are taking place, and so forth. Jacob Adams pointed out that there will be a meeting at the end of this month in San Diego, which is being put on by the Acoustic Society, who apparently are interested in doing some sort of acoustical work with sonar testing or tracking of bowhead whales. Interestingly, people I have talked to, that does not seem to be expressed very much anti-emotion towards us, and everything seems to be going well at this time. I am now conducting a test with the external microphone. The external microphone is on, and the external microphone can control the on and off of the tape recorder. I have the microphone sensitivity set on high, and I am now moving the microphone beside the tape recorder. I am now 3 feet from the microphone. I am now 4 feet from the microphone. I am now 5 feet from the microphone. I am now 6 feet from the microphone. I am now 7 feet. I am now 8 feet from the microphone. I am now 10 feet from the microphone. I am now 12 feet from the microphone. And I am still speaking in the same volume as earlier, as I walk slowly towards the microphone in order to see how it works, because tomorrow I want to take some of the proceedings of the Alaska Eskimo Whaling Conference, assuming that they will let me. From the test of the other microphone, the external microphone, it seems that this recorder will be able to pick up noise from 10 or 12 feet away, at least when the microphone is faced towards it. Now, I thought I might say over a few Eskimo phrases to see how they sound. For example, Inupiaq, Ella and Josephine, Fairbanks, Akagu, Ublagan, Ella and Josephine, Fairbanks, Inupiaq, Barrow, Gilliland, Sikum, Kangane, Nanuk, Tuk, Tiga, Akupak, or tell me, Akubitunga, Inupiaq, Fairbanks min, Barrow, Tikon, Kairunga, Ublagon, Ella and Josephine, Akadaway.